Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got quite a balanced rack. I can't see a 7, but I would have billeted through a D and possibly some other 8s. I've got the B for score, and I'd like to split up the duplicate tiles, in particular the L. Not seeing any other 8s at the moment. I've got the IBL ending with ELT. I guess if opponent changes, I may consider playing billet. Nothing hugely fantastic worth hanging on to in terms of a 4 or 5 letter set. EILT looks quite good, but isn't amazing. Probably only worth 3 or 4 points. And opponent taking a while with this opening move. Maybe he's drawn one of the blanks. Okay, 16 points. Amrit, I think, takes an A and an S at the end. Now I have an R for billeter, which I'm not 100% sure of, but as it's a void challenge, I can play it and see if it stays on. And it does. Fantastic. Not so great this rack. I have biogas in column 1, but that burns the S. However, 30 points and it sorts out the duplicates. Could there be a 5 vowel 8 here? Nice bingo from my opponent. Now I have Adagio through the D, but that scores not very much. So biogas certainly preferable. Do I have a similar play in column 1 which gets the G doubled? Not that I can see. So I'm inclined to go with this. 30 points is a good score. Rack leave is pretty awful, but will be okay if I don't draw a ton of vowels. I'm going with this. Great, no duplicates and just the 4 vowels in total. Plus I have the X. And I can see straight away that there's this E of billeter and A of biogas next to double word squares, both of which can accommodate the X. Can I get rid of the U at the same time as the X? And what about this I of Tindri? I have O's, EAUX for a big score. Will that stay available? That does get rid of the X and the U. Where else can I achieve that? U goes in front of G, but I can't see any UX words which play. I'm not aware of any 3-letter extensions to Amrit. Could I have a bingo with this rack? I think if there was one here, it would be through a consonant. Fantastic. I was really expecting this to go, but it's remained available. O's for 76. Not too good. 5 vowels. However, I draw another S, which is good. And this rack should be capable of being sorted out. I've got the C for score. I have Cooey on my rack. Could there be a 5 vowel 8? Close to Dioecus. Not quite the tiles, and the D is in the wrong place. Not seeing anything beginning with the S or the G. Oo is sometimes a prefix in a 5 vowel 8. Now what about the 2 letter sets? None of those look particularly promising. What about AR? Not seeing anything there. I have the ISO prefix. Well, so nothing fabulous has come to my attention. This board is pretty good for bingos with the floating E available, and the S of biogas and T of Amrit, and just generally it's fairly wide open. Yeah, another bingo there, and that's both blanks gone, and opponent leads by 15. And opponent has also provided a spot for Cooey, which is quite tempting because, as well as being the play I wanted to make, it's taking out this valuable spot underneath the O. A 5-letter play ending in a premium tile could score really well, and it's not hugely dangerous because the C prevents access to the triple word square at A1 because it takes nothing in front to make a 2-letter word. So Cooey for 22. Well, just before I play that, has opponent provided any floaters that make bingos? No, I don't think so. Overfund does take ED as an extension. Now this is pretty grim. UUW, pretty dreadful pick. Through an A, I would have Boise, no A available. My lead pretty slender, just 7 points. I have Zobu at A4 down, which splits up the duplicate U, gets rid of the B and the Z. It does retain UW, but this rack is really problematic in terms of sorting out in one go B, W and W. Very hard to get rid of 3 out of those 4. Unless I play Woodoo through a D, which I can do, but for a pretty minimal score. So let's see if Zobu remains available. If not, what else is on offer? And I'm just looking around the bottom left of the board to see if anything good is available there for the Z. And I'm not seeing anything. So should I play Voodoo? 11 points. I guess that's better than changing. I'm providing a new spot for my S. Just 2 S's to come and no blanks. Still looking around for an alternative spot for my Z for score. I don't have to play the Z off, the rest of the rack is very non-bingo-y. But certainly it features in the best play I've spotted so far. And still another U and W to come. Opponent taking a while with this play. I could do with him not bingoing since my rack's so awful and my lead so slender. Plenty of E's and a couple of D's to come for overfunded. And that'll be a 48-point play. Is there really nowhere else to dump some of my problem tiles? Well, not that I've seen. Opponent unlikely to block both of Zobu and Woodoo. Now Whiz is good. If there were a high scoring spot for that, it might be better than changing, and maybe better than Woodoo. However, I'm not seeing anywhere for Whiz. Biz also good, but that's less desirable, keeping UUW very unlikely to be best. Opponent down to 12 minutes on his clock, and he plays Rig for just 19 points. Fantastic. He has not provided a new Z spot. So I have Zobu for 50. Great, I draw the J and another S. So I could play just and Zobus. It means there's only one S out there. Hence Zobu, the Zobu hook unlikely to be taken. Opponent does extend over fund for 51 and now leads by 13. And I'm considering playing just. Is there a better bingo a better J spot available? Jut is good, but I can't get that to play twice. Not seeing anything in the bottom of the board, so I'm quite grateful for just 38 points, decent score, and Rackleaf starting to look half okay, just for 38. Wow, I have Washia. Not sure there's anywhere for it, but there is because of Amrits. And I have Dishware in column 15 for probably over 100 points. Rawhide's its anagram, doesn't play there, nor does it play through Tindery. So there is a glimmer of hope in this game that I might be able to establish a lead. I currently do have one, but it's only 25 points. And I'm not expecting it to survive my opponent's turn. So I have unblockable bingos. In fact, neither of my bingos is blocked. Opponent only scores 18 points, which is fantastic. And I have Dishware for 107. Bang. So I now lead by over 100. Still 20 tiles to come. Let me check the vowel situation. 12 out of 27, so pretty balanced bag. I have a problematic rack in that I have a Q. Is there anywhere for it on this board? Looking at the 3 U's in the top left, none of those is available. The 4th U is in the bag. Opponent does bingo, so it's not over yet. My lead is just 24 points. 13 tiles to come. There is a spot for the Q. I saw it. Above the I of Billiter. That's only 11 points. There are 3 I's and a U to come. I'm minded to hang on to the Q with a view to scoring more with my other tiles. So do I have anything in the bottom right? And I don't think I do. And my fear about playing Chi is that opponent could overtake me. I'm coming around to playing Chi. This Rackleaf is balanced. And I'm not seeing anything great on offer. Just looking around for other Q spots that I've overlooked. And I think if I held onto the Q, there's nothing particularly amazing that I would be hoping to achieve. Possibly Cade, but that would require drawing A and I. Natchez doesn't take anything after it. I'm going to play Chi. Well, just a whole bunch of low scoring tiles. And the scoring tiles that are out there, K, M, PP, V, W. So quite a lot of scoring potential. I now do have Idle in column 15 for a decent score. Opponent may go there. What if he does? Now Danny looks quite handy. What do I have which goes next to the Y? Just O, I think. So I would need a play beginning EO. or IO. Not seeing anything, that's a shame. That looked a good spot for playing something like oil. Great, idle remains available. Opponent's got 32 points though, and now trails by just 13. Do I play across from the V? So I have veiled. 33. 9 tiles in the bag. Opponent could play volume in that spot. Let me see what idle scores. Only 29. Not a nice rack leave either. Let me see what veiled looks like. A nicer rack leave, I think. Let me check remaining vowels. 8 out of 16, including 2 E's and only 1 O. Column 15, not hugely dangerous. Famous last words. Let me pause now because I have a lot of time and I've just got a feeling that these moves aren't necessarily similar. Remaining tiles quite bingo-y. Opponent unlikely to bingo through the V. Does have a 7-letter lane under Amrit because of Amrita. I'm leaving the E and the S, or the S certainly, alone. Let me put this back. Do I have a bingo through the S? Don't think so. Opponent could have volume, probably doesn't. If he doesn't have a play beginning with the V, then he can't use that triple word spot. Yeah, so he's more likely to have a play in the bottom right than he is to have a play beginning with the V, which means I should play idle for 29. Well, I draw the vowels. I have Vegeti, or Vegeti, however you pronounce that, for over 30 points. 5 tiles in the bag. Remaining tiles do have some bingo potential, and my lead is only 42 points. But if opponent bingos, he'll be emptying the bag. If opponent bingos, he is a favourite. Well, he doesn't have volume because I have the U. Idle has frustrated parallel plays at the bottom of Natchez. Although there are I's for ISO, and KED is good, and WED. But any play down there is not going to stop me playing Vegeti. I haven't identified any alternative plays yet. Let me reconsider. Great, just 33 points. I was going to say reconsider playing parallel to Danny, so I have EAU in that spot, but not for very much. 1 tile in the bag. No A's or S's for Amrita or Amrits. I have Vegeti for 33, and what a shame, that is setting up a really nice W spot. However, 33 points is going to take me to a lead of over 40. And with 1 tile in the bag, there's got to be a good possibility of me going out in 1. So a big W play is not going to be enough for my opponent. And actually, I hope I don't draw the W, because that's probably the worst tile to go with AU. Vegeti for 33. Great, I draw the P. I lead by 42 points. Do I have an out? Jorp is blocked. I have Tapu with the T, and I have Tapu through the T of Amrita, so I can certainly go out. Opponent has got to come up with a massive score, and he's got a pretty balanced rack. So I'll just have to wait and see what he comes up with. I don't think he's got a bingo, but he may have one. There are bingo lanes on this board. He's got the like prefix. And he's got a very balanced rack, but W and K, not the best bingo tiles to have. So what if he just manages a big non-bingo score? Can I do better than the Tapu plays, both of which only score 6 points? And in any event, I should be looking to maximise my win. And opponent plays 36 points. He still trails. Has he provided anywhere new for me to go out? I don't think he has. So I have Tapu for 6. And the final score, 454 for my opponent, 472 for me, a winning margin of 18 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. That was a fantastic game. Really close, really high scoring. It was my opponent to go first. He played Amrit. And I played Billiter, but I also had Belittle through the T, which would have scored 6 more points, so well done if you spotted that. Opponent has a choice of bingos, goes with Tindery. And now I go with Biogas for 30, and there were other plays which scored less, but which retained the S, so A8, Agio. Possibly worth considering that spot, probably hotter than column 1, with the vowel next to a premium square, and it retains the S. And Blue Eyes burns the S, but I think Biogas not a bad score, not a bad play because of the score. Opponent's rack plays Oof, and now I have O's for 76, which is best. Not a nice rack for opponent. However, he has a bingo from it, Overfund, so that was a good spot. And now I trail by 15. And I played Kui for 22. That looks fine. Wow, opponent close to a bingo. Just needed some floating vowels, and the O not being one which suits. So plays Rig for 19, and now I trail. I have this horror show, but I'm able to play Zobyu. What else was available? A14, Swizz and Overfunds. Yeah, that's a pretty decent score. And then the scores trail off. Opponent's rack plays Overfunded for 51, and now again, neck and neck, I trail by 13. And again, with a rack like this, really fortunate to be able to rustle up 38 points. Opponent plays Danny, and now I have this fabulous pickup. I have Dishware for 107. Other bingos available. I felt in great shape. I was over 100 ahead. But opponent comes straight back with Natches, which was a fantastic spot. And now I lead by 30 points, but I've got a poor rack. And I play Chi for 11 to get rid of the Q. J3. Wow, quite a nice play. Logoed for 32. And although the Q isn't worth minus 20 points, might be worth minus 8 or 10 or 11. I instinctively feel glad to be rid of the queue, and I feel that the rack leave has some flexibility. Now, opponent's rack plays Pav, and I lead by 13. Void E available. Okay. Well, I thought about a V play and went with idle because I thought the bottom right was hotter for my opponent. Opponent's rack, close to a bingo, plays Amir. I now lead by 9, and I have Vegeti for 33, which I think does the job. Puts me 42 points in front. The bag is empty. This is opponent's rack. He has Winkle for 40, and even that's not enough to overtake me. So he plays Wink. And wow, there were a couple of 7s. There's Punas, which I saw but wasn't sure of, and Power. I11. Power. Onto this A. Okay, so just 1 point dropped at the end. But what a game. Opponent antefix, really strong player, and I think that showed throughout. We were absolutely neck and neck throughout the game. Dishware gave me a huge lead, but opponent came straight back, and then we were neck and neck into the end game with hot spots around the board. Fortunately, I was able to keep scoring and to win by about 20 points. So absolutely fantastic stuff. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.